Attraction is not what most men think. It's not just looks. It's not money. And it's definitely not trying harder. Because the truth is, some men walk into a room and instantly command attention, without saying a word, while others try everything and still get ignored. Why? Because attraction is not about effort. It's about who you are at your core. The Stoics understood this long ago. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you embody. In this video, you'll discover 12 powerful traits that make a man deeply attractive, not just on the surface, but psychologically and emotionally. And if you stay until the end, you'll understand what truly separates men who are respected from men who are overlooked. Let's begin. 1. Calm confidence, the kind you can't fake. The most attractive men are not loud. They are not trying to prove anything. They are not seeking attention. They are calm. And that calmness is what makes them powerful. Because real confidence is not about speaking more. It's about needing less validation. The Stoics practiced this deeply. They didn't rely on external approval to feel secure. Their confidence came from within, knowing who they are, accepting themselves fully, staying grounded under pressure. And this creates something rare: emotional stability. Now compare two men. One is constantly talking, trying to impress, seeking reactions. The other is relaxed, composed, and unbothered. Who feels more attractive? Not because of what they say, but because of how they carry themselves. Calm confidence sends a powerful signal. I am comfortable with myself. And that comfort removes pressure from others. It makes interactions feel natural. But here's the deeper layer. Calm confidence is not built overnight. It is built through discipline, self-awareness, facing discomfort, controlling emotions. Because confidence is not a personality trait. It is a result of how you live daily. Start observing yourself. Do you feel the need to prove your worth? Do you over-explain yourself? Do you seek validation before acting? These are signs of unstable confidence. And unstable confidence is easily felt. Now start shifting this. Speak less, but with intention. Don't rush to fill silence. Stay composed, even under pressure. Stop seeking reactions from others. Because the less you need validation, the more naturally confident you become. And that confidence is magnetic. But here's the truth most men miss. Confidence alone is not enough. Because even confident men lose attraction when they lack one thing: control over their emotions. And that leads us to the next trait. I'll take you to trait 2, emotional control. This is what separates attractive men from reactive ones. 2. Emotional control, the trait that defines real power. A man who cannot control his emotions cannot control his life. And more importantly, he cannot command respect. Because attraction is not just about how you appear. It's about how you respond under pressure. Anyone can look confident when things are going well. But when tension rises, when things don't go your way, that's when your true level is revealed. The Stoics trained for this. Not to become emotionless, but to become unshakable. Because they understood. It's not what happens to you, it's how you react to it. Now look at this closely. When a man is emotionally reactive, he gets angry quickly. He becomes anxious over small things. He overthinks everything. He reacts instead of responding. And all of this signals weakness. Not because emotions are bad, but because lack of control is visible. Now compare that to a man with emotional discipline. He stays calm under pressure. He doesn't react instantly. He observes before responding. He maintains composure in uncertainty. That energy feels different because it signals one thing. This man is in control of himself. And self-control is rare. Most people are driven by impulse. They react immediately. They let emotions take over. They lose composure in uncomfortable situations. So when someone doesn't, it stands out instantly. But here's the deeper psychological truth. People test emotional stability, consciously or unconsciously, not always with obvious actions, but through subtle behavior, delayed responses, mixed signals, uncertainty, and your reaction reveals everything. If you react emotionally, you lose your position. If you stay grounded, you gain respect. Because calmness under pressure creates trust, and trust builds attraction. Start paying attention to yourself. Do you react instantly when triggered? Do small things affect your mood for hours? Do you struggle to stay calm in uncertain situations? These are signs your emotions are controlling you, and that reduces your presence. Start shifting this. Pause before reacting. Breathe and observe instead of responding instantly. Separate what you feel from how you act. Stay calm even when it's uncomfortable. Because emotional control is not about suppressing. It's about choosing your response. And once you master this, something powerful happens. You become harder to disturb, harder to manipulate, harder to ignore, and that naturally makes you more attractive. But here's the deeper truth. Even if you control your emotions, if you still depend on others for validation, your value will always fluctuate. And that leads to the next trait. Continue, and I'll take you to trait 3, self-sufficiency. This is what makes a man truly independent and attractive. 3. Self-sufficiency, the trait that makes you irreplaceable. The moment you stop needing people to complete you is the moment you become more attractive. Not because you push people away, but because you are no longer dependent on them. Most men struggle here. They seek validation. They rely on attention. They need reassurance to feel confident. And without realizing it, they give away their power. The Stoics lived differently. They trained themselves to be internally stable, not because they didn't value relationships, but because they refused to depend on them for identity. They understood this. If you rely on others for your sense of worth, you will always be unstable. And instability is felt. When a man lacks self-sufficiency, he seeks constant reassurance. He becomes anxious when attention is withdrawn. He overinvests too quickly. He struggles to be alone. And all of this communicates one message. I need something outside of me to feel complete. That energy creates pressure, and pressure kills attraction. Now compare that to a self-sufficient man. He enjoys connection, but doesn't depend on it. He values people, but doesn't lose himself in them. He is comfortable alone, not lonely. He builds his life independently. That energy feels grounded, because it signals, I choose you. I don't need you. And that difference is powerful, because choice creates attraction. Need creates pressure. The Stoics practiced solitude intentionally. They spent time alone not as isolation, but as self-development. They reflected. They improved. They built inner strength. Because they knew, a man who is comfortable alone will never accept less just to avoid loneliness. And that creates standards. Start observing yourself. Do you feel uncomfortable being alone? Do you depend on attention to feel good? Do you chase connection out of emptiness? These are signs of dependency, and dependency weakens your presence. Start shifting this. Spend time alone intentionally. Build your life outside of relationships. Develop skills, habits, and purpose. Learn to enjoy your own company. Because when you become self-sufficient, you stop chasing. And when you stop chasing, you become more attractive. But here's the deeper truth. Even if you are self-sufficient, if you lack direction in your life, you will still be overlooked. Because independence without purpose feels empty. And that leads to the next trait. Trait 4, purpose and direction. This is what makes a man stand out instantly. 4. Purpose and direction. The trait that makes you stand out instantly. A man without direction is a man easily overlooked. Not because he lacks potential, but because he lacks focus. And focus is attractive. The Stoics built their lives around purpose. They didn't drift. They didn't chase distractions. They didn't move without intention. Everything they did had direction. And that created something powerful. Clarity. Now think about the modern world. Most people are lost, scrolling endlessly, chasing temporary pleasure, reacting instead of building. So when a man shows up with clear direction, He stands out immediately, not because he is trying to impress, but because he is not lost. That's rare, and rarity creates attraction. Here's the deeper psychological truth. When you have purpose, your energy changes. You become focused. You become selective. You become less available. You become more disciplined because your life is moving forward. You are not waiting for something to happen. You are building something. And that is powerful because now your presence communicates. I have somewhere to go with or without you. That doesn't push people away. It pulls the right people closer because people are drawn to those who are moving with intention. Now compare two men. One is drifting, reacting, filling time. The other is building, focused, and consistent. Who feels more attractive? Not because of what they say, but because of the direction they carry. But here's where most men get it wrong. They talk about purpose, but don't live it. They say they have goals, but their daily actions don't reflect it. And that inconsistency is felt because attraction is not built on words. It is built on patterns. The Stoics didn't talk about purpose constantly. They lived it, quietly, consistently, daily, and over time, it became who they were. Start observing yourself. Do your actions align with your goals? Are you moving forward or just staying busy? Do you have clear direction or are you drifting? Because these answers define your presence. Start shifting this. Set clear goals for your life. Build daily habits that move you forward. Eliminate distractions that pull you back. Stay consistent, even when it's hard. Because purpose is not something you find. It is something you build. And once you build it, your presence changes. Your energy becomes focused. Your time becomes valuable. Your life becomes structured. And that structure is attractive. But here's the deeper truth. Even with purpose, if you cannot control your time, you will still lose your edge. And that leads to the next trait. Continue, and I'll take you to trait 5, discipline with time. This is what separates average men from powerful ones. 5. Discipline with time. The trait that builds power and respect. The way you use your time tells people everything about you. Not your words, not your intentions, not your plans, but your time. Because time is life. And the Stoics treated it as their most valuable asset. They didn't waste it. They didn't give it away carelessly. They didn't live as if they had unlimited days. They lived with urgency, not panic, but intentional focus. Now here's the truth most men avoid. When you waste time, you weaken your life. Slowly, quietly, without noticing. Hours disappear into distractions. Days pass without progress. Weeks go by with no real movement. And because nothing feels urgent, you assume everything is fine. But over time, that lack of discipline shows up in your identity. You become less focused. You lose consistency. You delay important decisions. You struggle to build momentum. And momentum is everything. Because once you lose momentum, everything becomes harder. The Stoics understood this deeply. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. That awareness changes how you live. Because when you realize time is limited, you stop treating it casually. Now here's where this becomes attractive. A man who values his time becomes selective. He doesn't say yes to everything. He doesn't entertain distractions endlessly. He doesn't give his energy to what doesn't matter. And that selectiveness creates value. Because now, your presence is not constant. It is intentional. An intentional presence feels different. Now compare two men. One is always available, always free, always reacting. The other is focused, busy building, intentional with his time. Who feels more attractive? Not because one is better, but because one has priorities. And priorities create power. But here's the deeper truth. Discipline with time is not about being busy. It's about being effective. Because being busy without direction is just disguised distraction. The Stoics didn't fill their time. They used it wisely. Start observing yourself. How much time do you waste daily? Are you productive or just occupied? Do your actions move your life forward? Because these answers shape your future. Start shifting this. Plan your day with intention. Eliminate unnecessary distractions. Focus on what truly matters. Act even when you don't feel like it. Because discipline is not about motivation. It's about consistency. And when you become disciplined with your time, something powerful happens. You become more focused, more productive, more respected, and your presence becomes more valuable. Because now, access to you is not guaranteed. And what is not guaranteed is always more attractive. But here's the deeper truth. Even if you master your time, if you still react emotionally to everything, you will lose your power. And that leads to the next trait. Continue, and I'll take you to trait 6, being unbothered. This is what makes a man mentally untouchable and deeply attractive. 6. Being unbothered. The trait that makes you mentally untouchable. The easier it is to disturb you, the easier it is to control you. And the easier it is to control you, the less attractive you become. That's the truth most men don't realize. Because being unbothered is not about acting cold. It's about having complete control over your internal state. The Stoics mastered this, not by avoiding challenges, but by training themselves to remain steady no matter what happens. They understood something powerful. If it's outside your control, it should not control you. Now look at how most men react. A delayed reply creates anxiety. A small disagreement creates anger. A little uncertainty creates overthinking. A minor setback ruins the entire day. That is emotional dependence on external events. And it weakens your presence. Because your mood is constantly shifting, based on things you cannot control. Now compare that to a man who is unbothered. He stays calm when things don't go his way. He doesn't react instantly. He doesn't chase clarity emotionally. He observes, thinks, then responds. That energy is powerful because it signals, I am in control of myself. And self-control is rare. Most people are reactive. They respond immediately. They let emotions lead. They get pulled into every situation. So when someone remains grounded, it stands out instantly. But here's the deeper layer. Being unbothered creates mystery. Because when you don't react the way people expect, they start paying more attention. Why isn't he reacting? Why is he so calm? What is he thinking? And that curiosity builds attraction. Not forced attraction, but natural intrigue. However, this is important. Being unbothered is not pretending, because fake calmness feels forced. Real composure comes from internal security, from knowing you are okay regardless of the outcome. You don't need external validation. You are not dependent on reactions. That mindset creates freedom, and freedom creates attraction. The Stoics trained this daily. They paused before reacting. They observed their emotions. They focused on what they could control. And over time, they became difficult to disturb. And when someone is difficult to disturb, they become difficult to manipulate. That creates respect. And respect builds attraction. Start applying this. When something triggers you, pause. When something confuses you, observe. When something feels uncertain, stay grounded. You don't need to react instantly. You don't need to solve everything emotionally. Sometimes the strongest move is calm control. But here's the deeper truth. Being unbothered alone is not enough. Because if you allow anything into your life, you will still lose your value. And that leads to the next trait. Trait 7. Boundaries. This is what protects your value and makes people respect you. 7. Strong boundaries. The trait that protects your value. A man without boundaries is a man without respect. Not because he is weak, but because he has not defined what he will and will not accept. And people can feel that instantly. Because in life, if you don't set limits, people will set them for you. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't allow themselves to be pulled in every direction by people, pressure, or emotion. They lived by principles. And principles create boundaries. Now here's the truth most men miss. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about respecting yourself. When you lack boundaries, you tolerate disrespect. You overgive your time and energy. You say yes when you mean no. You allow people to cross lines repeatedly, and slowly, your value drops. Not because you changed overnight, but because you allowed too much. And what you tolerate becomes your standard. Now compare that to a man with strong boundaries. He is clear about what he accepts. He is not afraid to say no. He walks away from disrespect. He does not over-explain his limits. That energy changes everything. Because now people know this man respects himself. And self-respect is magnetic. Not because it demands attention, but because it commands it. Here's the deeper psychological truth. People test boundaries naturally, not always intentionally, but consistently. They observe how far they can go, and your response teaches them how to treat you. If you allow everything, they continue everything. If you resist clearly, they adjust. That's human behavior. Now here's where attraction connects. Men with no boundaries feel available, and availability lowers value. Men with strong boundaries feel selective, and selectiveness increases value, because access becomes limited, and what is limited becomes respected. The Stoics practiced this through discipline. They didn't react emotionally to every request. They didn't allow others to disrupt their peace. They didn't abandon their principles for comfort. They stayed firm, not aggressive, not emotional, but clear. Start observing yourself. Do you struggle to say no? Do you tolerate behavior you don't like? Do you avoid confrontation to keep peace? These are signs of weak boundaries. And weak boundaries weaken your presence. Start shifting this. Say no without guilt. Don't over-explain your limits. Walk away from repeated disrespect. Prioritize your peace and standards. Because boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They protect your energy. They protect your time. They protect your value. And when your value is protected, it becomes stronger. But here's the deeper truth. Even with strong boundaries, if you still rely on external validation, you will still lose yourself. And that leads to the next trait. For trait 8, self-respect. This is where a man becomes truly unshakable and high value. 8. Self-respect, the foundation of all attraction. Self-respect is not something you declare. It is something you demonstrate through behavior. And people can feel it instantly. Because before anyone respects you, they first observe how you respect yourself. The Stoics built their entire philosophy around this idea. If you don't respect yourself, no one else will consistently respect you. Now here's the hard truth most men avoid. When self-respect is low, everything else collapses. You start accepting less than you deserve, staying in situations that drain you, ignoring your own discomfort, prioritizing others above your own well-being, and slowly, your identity weakens. Not in one moment, but through repeated compromises. Every time you ignore your own boundaries, every time you tolerate disrespect, every time you betray your own standards, you lose a piece of self-respect. And once that happens repeatedly, your presence changes. You become easier to overlook, easier to ignore, easier to take for granted. Not because you are less valuable, but because you are not acting like you value yourself. Now compare that to a man with strong self-respect. He does not chase validation. He does not stay where he is not valued. He does not negotiate his worth. He does not abandon himself to be accepted. That energy is powerful because it sends a silent message. I value myself too much to accept less. And that creates attraction. Not loud attraction, but deep respect-based attraction. Here's the deeper psychological truth. People mirror how you treat yourself. If you tolerate low standards, others will too. If you respect yourself deeply, others adjust their behavior. It is not manipulation. It is perception. Now here's where Stoicism becomes important. Stoics didn't rely on external validation to feel worthy. Their self-respect came from living according to principles, acting with discipline, controlling impulses, staying aligned with values. And because of that, they were internally stable. No approval needed. No validation required. No external permission necessary. That is real strength. Start observing yourself. Do you compromise your values to keep people around? Do you ignore your own needs for acceptance? Do you feel uncomfortable standing alone in your truth? These are signs of weak self-respect. And weak self-respect quietly lowers your entire life. Start shifting this. Keep your promises to yourself. Stop accepting what drains your peace. Walk away when necessary. Choose what aligns with your values. Because self-respect is not a feeling. It is a practice. And when you practice it daily, your entire presence changes. You become calmer, stronger, more grounded, and people begin to treat you differently. Not because you demand it, but because you embody it. But here's the deeper truth. Even with self-respect, if your mind is not disciplined, you will still struggle internally. And that leads to the next trait. Continue, and I'll take you to trait 9, mental discipline. This is where true control over life begins. 9, mental discipline, the trait that controls everything else. A man without mental discipline is a man easily controlled by emotions, by distractions, by impulses, by circumstances, and most importantly, by his own mind. The Stoics understood something very important. Your mind is either your greatest tool or your greatest enemy. There is no middle ground, because every decision you make starts in the mind. And if your mind is unstable, your life will be unstable. Now here's what mental weakness looks like. You overthink everything. You struggle to stay focused. You start tasks but don't finish them. You get pulled by every distraction. You change direction based on emotion. And slowly, your life becomes scattered. Not because you lack ability, but because you lack control. Mental discipline is the ability to stay aligned with what matters, even when your mind resists it. And resistance is always there. Your mind will say, "Do it later. You're too tired. This doesn't matter right now. Just relax today." And if you obey it too often, you lose direction. The Stoics trained their minds like a weapon, not by suppressing thought, but by directing attention intentionally. They asked, is this thought useful? Is this distraction necessary? Does this bring me closer to my purpose? And if the answer was no, they let it go. That level of control is powerful, because when your mind is disciplined, you think clearly, you act intentionally, you waste less energy, you make better decisions, and most importantly, you stop being reactive. Now here's the deeper truth. Most people think they are in control of their lives, but in reality, their thoughts are controlling them, and that creates chaos. Mental discipline brings order. Start observing yourself. Do you follow your plan or your mood? Do you get distracted easily? Do you struggle to stay consistent mentally? These are signs of undisciplined thinking. And undisciplined thinking leads to an undisciplined life. Start shifting this. Control your attention. Reduce unnecessary input. Focus on one thing at a time. Train yourself to finish what you start. Because discipline is not just physical. It starts in the mind. And once your mind is disciplined, everything else becomes easier. But here's the deeper truth. Even with mental discipline, if your emotions still control your reactions, you will still lose your center. And that leads to the next trait. I'll take you to trait 10, emotional stability under pressure. This is where real masculine strength is revealed. 10. Emotional stability under pressure, real strength revealed. Pressure does not create weakness. It reveals it. And it does the same for strength. Because anyone can appear calm when life is easy. But the real test comes when things go wrong. Stress, uncertainty, disappointment, rejection, failure. These are the moments where most men lose control. But a truly attractive man stays steady. Not because nothing affects him, but because nothing controls him. The Stoics built their entire philosophy around this idea. You don't control what happens, you control how you respond. Now here's the difference. An unstable man reacts immediately. He panics under pressure. He gets emotional during conflict. He makes decisions impulsively. He lets frustration take over. And in those moments, his presence weakens. Because emotional instability is visible. You can hear it in tone. You can see it in behavior. You can feel it in energy. Now compare that to emotional stability. He pauses before reacting. He stays calm in uncomfortable situations. He doesn't let emotions dictate decisions. He processes before responding. That presence feels grounded because it signals one thing. This man is not controlled by pressure, and that is deeply attractive because stability creates safety, not physical safety, but emotional safety. People feel they can trust your presence. Here's the deeper psychological truth. Most people are emotionally reactive. So when someone is not, it stands out immediately, not because they are trying to be different, but because they are disciplined internally. The Stoics trained emotional stability through repetition, accepting discomfort, observing reactions, practicing self-control daily, detaching from immediate emotional responses. Over time, this built resilience, and resilience creates strength. Start observing yourself. Do you react quickly when stressed? Do emotions control your decisions? Do you struggle to stay calm in difficult moments? These are signs of emotional instability, and instability weakens attraction, respect, and confidence. Start shifting this. Pause before responding. Separate emotion from action. Accept discomfort without reacting. Train yourself to stay calm under pressure. Because emotional stability is not about suppressing feelings. It's about mastering your response. And when you master your response, you become unshakable. But here's the deeper truth. Even if you master emotional stability, if you still depend on external validation, your foundation is not complete. And that leads to the next trait. Continue, and I'll take you to trait 11. Independence from validation. This is where a man becomes truly free and magnetic. 11. Independence from validation. The trait that makes you untouchable. Most men don't realize it, but the need for validation is invisible weakness. Because the moment you need approval to feel valuable, you are no longer in control of your worth. Other people are, and that is dangerous. The Stoics understood this clearly. If you depend on others for your peace, you will never have peace. Now think about modern behavior. Posting things just to get likes. Changing behavior to fit in. Over-explaining to be understood. Seeking reassurance before decisions. On the surface, it looks normal, but underneath it, it is dependency. And dependency lowers attraction instantly, because it communicates, I need external confirmation to feel okay. Now compare that to a man independent of validation. He acts based on principles, not opinions. He doesn't need approval to move forward. He doesn't change his identity for acceptance. He is comfortable being misunderstood. That energy is powerful because it signals, I approve of myself. And self-approval is rare. Here's the deeper truth. People unconsciously test this trait, not directly, but through subtle situations. Disagreement, silence, lack of response, differing opinions, and your reaction reveals everything. If you seek validation in those moments, your value weakens. But if you remain grounded, your value strengthens. Because independence is felt, not announced. The Stoics practiced this by detaching from external opinions. They focused on virtue over popularity, truth over approval, discipline over acceptance. And this made them mentally free. Now here's what happens when you become validation independent. You stop overthinking what others think. You act more naturally. You become more decisive. You carry a calm confidence. And that makes you magnetic. Because you are no longer performing. You are just being. Start observing yourself. Do you change your behavior for acceptance? Do you feel uncomfortable being misunderstood? Do you need reassurance before acting? These are signs of validation dependency, and dependency limits your growth. Start shifting this. Make decisions based on your values. Stop seeking constant reassurance. Accept that not everyone will understand you. Focus on self-approval over public approval. Because once you stop needing validation, you start gaining respect naturally. But here's the deeper truth. Even if you become independent from validation, if you lack consistency in who you are, your identity will still feel unstable. And that leads to the final trait. I'll take you to trait 12, consistency of character. This is the trait that makes a man truly unforgettable. 12. Consistency of character. The trait that makes you unforgettable. At the highest level of attraction, it is not looks that keep people interested. It is not words that make you memorable. It is not even confidence alone. It is consistency of character. Because a man who is the same in every situation becomes predictable in a powerful way. Not boring, but reliable. And reliability builds trust faster than anything else. The Stoics built their entire identity around this principle. Be the same man in private that you are in public. Now here's what inconsistency looks like. Confident today, insecure tomorrow. Disciplined for a week, then lost the next. Calm in public, reactive in private. Motivated sometimes, lazy most times. And people feel this instability instantly. Because inconsistency creates confusion, and confusion destroys attraction. Now compare that to consistency of character. He behaves the same no matter the situation. He does not change personality to impress. He stays aligned with his values. He acts with discipline even when no one is watching. That presence is powerful because it signals, you can trust who I am. And trust is the foundation of attraction. Here's the deeper psychological truth. People are not only attracted to intensity, they are attracted to stability over time. Because stability creates comfort, and comfort allows deeper connection. The Stoics understood this deeply. They did not live based on emotion or environment. They lived based on principles. And principles do not change with mood. That is what made them strong. Now here's what happens when you develop consistency. People start trusting your words. Your presence feels grounded. Your reputation strengthens naturally. You become predictable in a positive way. And most importantly, you become unforgettable. Because inconsistent people are easily forgotten. But consistent people leave a lasting impression. Start observing yourself. Do your actions match your words? Are you the same person in different environments? Do you stay consistent under pressure? These questions define your identity. And identity is what people respond to. Start shifting this. Keep your habits stable. Align actions with values. Stay disciplined regardless of mood. Be consistent even when no one is watching. Because consistency is not about perfection. It is about alignment over time. And when you master this, you become someone people respect instantly. Not because you demand it, but because you embody it. If this video opened your mind, don't just move on. Because most people hear these truths, but never apply them. And that is why nothing changes. But you can be different. Start building these traits daily. Calm confidence, emotional control, self-sufficiency, purpose, discipline, stability, self-respect. Because these are not just traits, they are a way of life. And if you want more powerful videos like this, based on Stoicism, mindset, discipline, and self-mastery, Backhand Index Pointing Right, subscribe to the channel now. Because the strongest version of you is built one decision at a time. And the question is, will you stay the same or become unforgettable?